thank you everybody for joining the Michael J.Steele Show live in downtown Fargo. This is Michael J.Steele. I'm the next United States Senator of North Dakota. Wow, we got a great audience out there, 288 listeners listening in tonight. Thank you everybody for coming back. Just a little quick disclaimer. We'd appreciate it if we don't have any defamatory, harassing, obscene, or racist content on the program tonight. Please be respectful when participating in our live show. By using our call-in feature, you understand that you will be recorded by me, Michael J. Steele, and it will be published. Thank you once again, and we're going to start out for those in the last few shows that didn't understand what a senator does. I just wanted to start the program off tonight. A little bit of a new thing. You know, when I'm senator, I want to make sure everybody knows what a senator does, because we did have a few people in Missouri that kind of got confused. They thought the senator kind of had presidential power, and actually a senator doesn't have presidential power. But let's just spend a few minutes going over the powers of what a senator actually does. Here's the powers and procedures of a senator. And Article 1, Section 5 of the U.S. Constitution provides that each House of Congress may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of two-thirds expel a member. Censure is a form of discipline used by the Senate against its members, sometimes referred to as condemnation or denouncement. A formal statement of disapproval of censure does not remove a senator from office. Since 1789, the Senate has censured 9 of its members. That's a very, very small number, only 9 of its members. The United States Constitution gives each House of Congress the power to be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members. Article 1, Section 5. Since 1789, the Senate has carefully guarded this prerogative and has developed its own procedures for judging the qualifications of its members in settling contested elections. The Constitution grants Congress the sole power to declare war. Congress has declared war on 11 occasions, including its first declaration of war with Great Britain in 1812. Congress approved its last formal declaration of war during World War II. Since that time, it has agreed to resolution authorizing the use of military force and continues to shape U.S. military policy through appropriations and oversight. Article 1, Section 5 of the U.S. Constitution provides that each House of Congress may punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of two-thirds, expel a member. Since 1789, the Senate has expelled only 15 members. The Senate has a long history of using the filibuster, a term dating back to the 1850s in the United States, to delay debate or block legislation. Unlimited debate remained in place in the Senate until 1917, when the Senate adopted Rule 22 that allowed the Senate to end a debate with a two-thirds majority vote, a procedure known as cloture. In 1975, the Senate reduced the number of votes required for cloture from two-thirds, which was 67 votes out of 100, to 3/5, which is now 60 of the 100-member Senate. Under the Constitution, the House of Representatives has the power to impeach a government official, in effect serving as a prosecutor. The Senate, on the other hand, has the sole power to conduct impeachment trials, essentially serving as jury and judge. Since 1789, the Senate has tried 20 federal officials, including 3 presidents. Congress has conducted investigations of malfeasance in the executive branch and elsewhere, in American society since 1792. The need for congressional investigation remains a critical ingredient for restraining government and educating the public. The Constitution provides that the President shall nominate and by and with the advice and consent of the Senate shall appoint ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, judges of the Supreme Court, and all other officers in the United States. Article 2, Section 2, the Senate had always jealously guarded its power to review and approve or reject presidential appointees to execute and judicial branch post. The Senate is governed by the Constitution, a set of standing rules presidents established in the course of the legislative process, and special rules of procedure adopted by statute for particular types of legislation. These rules determine how bills and resolutions are moved towards passage, the structure of Senate committees, how debate proceeds on the chamber floor, and how members cast votes. The Constitution gives the Senate power to approve by two-thirds vote treaties made by the executive branch. The Senate has rejected relatively few of the hundreds of treaties it has considered, although many have died in committee or have been withdrawn by the President. The Senate may also amend a treaty or adopt changes to a treaty. The President may also enter into executive agreement with foreign nations that are not subject to Senate approval. The Senate takes action on bills, resolutions, amendments, motions, nominations, and treaties by voting. Senators vote in a variety of ways, including roll call votes, voice votes, and unanimous consent. So that's just a brief synopsis of what senators do. And actually the job of senators, here's some key aspects what our senators do on a day-to-day basis. What I'll be doing when I represent you in the United States Senate. The most important thing I'll be doing as your senator is to represent you, the American people, represent the citizens of North Dakota, and also the citizens of our nation. What I'll be doing is I'll speak with you, the citizens, about our problems and concerns, and I'll listen to all of your suggestions from your different districts, and I'll bring those back to Washington. You know, the people elect senators with the expectation that we'll fight for legislation that is in your best interest for everyday citizens. Senators' offices take phone calls and emails from citizens who want to share their opinions. That's why I have this talk show. I want to listen to you, and I would like to share your opinions with my constituents. And also I want to share your opinions in Washington, and that's what this is all about. I also, senators want to review the information that we receive to find out your stances so that we can hear different the stances of our constituents on various issues, not just one issue. That's why it is good to have callers that want to talk about different issues and not just keep talking about the same thing over and over and over again. Another thing is we want to inform the public. In addition to gathering information from members of the community, a state senator shares information with the public. A senator must be proactive and diplomatic. They may make many visits to schools, clubs, and other organizations that want to learn about the legislative process. You got to remember, we are legislatures. We're not the executive or the judicial. We're not the police force, and we're not the judicial. We're not the judges. We just write the laws and vote on the laws and do the other duties that I spoke already about. Senators also hold press conferences, give speeches, and speak with the media in order to educate people on current issues, inform them about current legislation that affects us all. Additionally, if a constituent is having difficulty working with government agency, they can contact a senator in their state to help facilitate interaction and strengthen their voice. That's what I'm doing now. I'm granting you guys your voice when you call into my show every night. And the world is listening. Trust me, I know Joe Biden's listened in. Jill Biden's listening in. Donald Trump's listened in. My opponent, John Hoeven's listened in. So everybody's listening in. Also, we'd like to introduce legislation. When I become your senator, I want to introduce legislation that also uses constituent feedback to identify new laws that need to be passed. Senators work with their staff to research topics, identify issues, and propose laws to protect citizens. We're here to protect you. That's why we talk about every day how critical it is about COVID and the COVID crisis and what's going on with that, about getting vaccinated and different things like that. And that's about protecting our citizens. Another important part of the job of a senator is to be active and vocal in order to get as much publicity and support for a bill as possible. And that's another thing we're doing. We're trying to get you guys have your voice right now. You can talk about a bill or something in your neighborhood that needs to be taken care of. We can consistently network with fellow Senate members and organize to convince others while supporting a particular bill is important and just. A finalized bill will be passed through several committees on its way to the Senate floor for a full vote. If said bill originated in the Senate, it is passed onto the House of Representatives for approval by Congress. If approved, Congress, the bill goes to the President to be signed into law or vetoed. So what are the differences between the Senate and Congress? The Senate and the Congress share the responsibility of drafting and passing legislature for the law. However, each body has differing structures and powers. According to the government, the Senate is known as a continuing body because its members are only up for re-election every 6 years, whereas members of Congress are re-elected every 2 years. Additionally, while the rules of procedure for Congress are readopted for every new session, the rules of the Senate have remained continuous since 1789. The Senate also has sole power to approve or reject nominations by the President and treaties with foreign governments by 2/3 vote. So that's kind of a synopsis for those of you that were a little confused on earlier shows, those from Missouri and that, and some of our callers from Texas and that have called in, some of our Republican friends. I just wanted to clarify and set the record straight. So if anybody else would like to clarify anything, that'd be great. I see we have Michael from Missouri. We have Yak, and we got Starbucks back. Hey, Starbucks, how's everybody doing? And call in. The phone lines are open. I'd like to hear from you. We got a big audience you guys can talk to tonight. I know on my end there's 289, but I know I talked to some of our other guests. Sometimes their numbers show more than my end. That's just on my end. I'm, because this is going, through iPhones and all kinds of other networks, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, TuneIn, multiple platforms are Facebook, Twitter, multiple platforms are picking us up right now live. So we are televising this show live. So if anything you want to hear, another thing that's going on, I guess if nobody wants to talk, is it looks like we have secured, I've been watching today all day, and I watched the Joint Chiefs of Staff and a couple of our generals talk about in Afghanistan. We got a lot of troops there guarding the air base. That is stabilized. We've been getting our people out, and we're going to keep our people in there as long as we have to be there to get everybody out. All of our American citizens are going to be at the airport there in Kabul and over there in Afghanistan to get everybody out. And sounds like that's going pretty good. It's pretty stable, and we're also getting. I'm doing pretty good. It's been a hectic day, Starbuck. The heat here, and we got this haze in the air and this smoke from Canada. We haven't had any rain. And I'll tell you what, people are actually in North Dakota and Fargo. We're out there walking outside. We're all choking. And I'll tell you what, it's hard to breathe. We got this smoke in the air and this bad haze. We can't even see the blue sky or the stars at night. It's still here in Canada, and it's just been terrible. The smell is so bad it gives you a headache. And if everybody's out there, we should have them do a rain dance or pray for rain right now in Canada, because we need to get these fires out. Also throughout California and the other 17 states in the United States, because this is bad. Our oxygen supply right now is not very healthy for those that have COVID and compromised lungs and emphysema, asthma, COPD, farmer's lung. We got a lot of farmers up here in North Dakota that are elderly with farmer's lung, and that's not good either. So this air has been hard on all of us. My doctor, who's a pulmonologist, said it's even been hard on him, and he has good lungs. He's coughing. He can't even take it. He's telling everybody, recommending everybody stay inside. So our air quality is the worst in the country right now. So, we got Pino here. Looks like our regulars are here on the show. I'm Michael J.Steele, your host. If you want to go to my website and donate, www.michaeljsteeleforsenate.com. Your donations help keep our program here going, keep our website going, keep a lot of things going right now. I'm going to be going on my tour here pretty quick next month to our 53 counties in North Dakota. My staff will be coming with me. So we're going to be going all throughout the western part of the state. We're going to be going into some deep Republican country and out there in the oil fields and talking to the oil workers and talking to our farmers. And I need your donations to just feed my staff, put some gas in the tank, and pay for some hotels. So you can go to the website. There's a little button you press for donations, and I'm calling all my friends out there that like the program. You don't have to be a Democrat or Republican if you like the programming, and you want to keep us on the air. Please go and donate. You'll hear from me for at least another 14, 15 months. We'll be doing the show. So you got me for a long time. And as long as I'll be doing this up to the election. And the call lines are open. We got the talkers here. We got Pino. We got Michael in Missouri. We got Starbuck. We got Yak, we got all these people here. If you guys want to call in, I'd love to hear from you. But if not, I can read another article here. I was looking that's kind of interesting, But Pino, here we go. Pino, keep it clean now. How you doing, Pino?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a rough day out here in North Dakota. A hard day. I worked hard today, but
What'd you do?
Just dealing with people, I tell you, lawyers, and over some property I owned in Missouri and that I was selling, and dealing with government officials that aren't very cooperative. You give a person a little bit of power and they take it to their head and they really think they're special, So they need to get into church is what they need to do. Go back to church and treat some people more fairly, So
you can't trust the government. I've been trying to tell you that.
Well, we're trying to change it, and that's why there's an election here in 2022, November 8th. There's going to be 28 seats up in the Senate, and you could change that and get some new people in there, and that's the best thing you can do is vote. And if you don't like what's going on, that's our duty is to vote. We have the 10th Amendment, and that's power to the people. Get out and vote. So what's going on in your neck of the woods, Pino?
Nothing. I figured we'd lighten it up tonight. Maybe not argue so much.
Well, that'd be
Talk
pretty
about
good.
Stuff.
Huh?
I was going to tell you. Have you ever seen the movie Big Night?
No, I haven't seen that. What's that all about?
Oh, it's about a couple of Italian brothers. They open up a restaurant, but it kind of revolves around this one main dish they make. It's called timbalo. And I made it the other night. Wasn't bad. A learning experience. First time I've ever made it, but it was, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, the dish. I never really had until I seen the movie.
No, I haven't heard of it. Timbalo, huh? Have you
Timbalo.
heard of Timbalo, Michael, in Missouri? Michaels comes from a big Italian family in Missouri, Timbalo. He might have heard
Well,
of
he
it.
may have heard of it then.
Yeah, big Italian family. I don't know what's the ingredients in there. I might have ate it when I was a kid.
Well,
I don't know.
it's kind of like maybe a baked, kind of like I don't know, almost like a baked mostaccioli or a lasagna. But you take some pastry dough and you line a bowl or a pot of some type, and then you just kind of fill it with mostaccioli, sausage, cheeses, you know, and it kind of bakes up like a cake. And then you wrap it up in this dough, this pastry dough, and then you bake it, and then you flip it over as it comes out. It ain't bad, you
Yeah,
know.
that sounds pretty good. Yeah, not too bad. It reminds me of some stuff that I made. I can't even think. I make stuff kind of like that. Last summer I was making some stuff like that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. How's the movie then? How was the movie then? What's it called
The
again?
movie,
What's it called again?
Big Night.
Big Night.
Yeah, Big Night.
I'll have to
Stanley
watch.
Tucci's in it.
Oh, I like
Uh,
him.
I can't remember the other guy's name. He was the guy off of Monk, the television show.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That
he's funny.
actor.
Yeah, Shalad. Tony Shalad. Tony Shalad. He's funny.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
him.
I strongly recommend watching the movie. Great movie. You'd really enjoy it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to get it. Big Night. Sounds good. Definitely. Yeah, his winner Jimmy's in the show tonight. We got Jimmy here. His wiener. So yeah, we got some good
So
callers.
your cousin from Kansas City, is he a big barbecuer?
Oh yeah, that's Kansas City's got it going on. That's the Kansas City barbecue is big. I know Texas is big too.
We are.
Kansas City's big too. And I go to the Rib Fest here in Fargo where I live every year. They come from Kansas City. They come from Texas, Indiana. I mean, all over the country we got barbecue. We got it even from Chicago, Florida. And they got vendors from all over, and then they have these top rock and roll bands here every year. They've had like 13 years in a row they come, and it's a blast. But you get these top acts. All you do, you come in, you pay like a $10 fee to get in the door, and you can eat all the ribs, and they have a contest. And then you get these top bands. About 8 o'clock, the bands come on, and you wouldn't believe the bands I heard for $10. Joan Jett and the Blackhearts one year. I heard Three Dog Night one year, Night Ranger one year. I mean, I could just go on and on and on. I've been to about 12 of them out of the 13. I missed one year. And just the greatest bands. This year they had a bunch of country bands this year. Were there if you're in the country, a lot of country bands. But I mean, the music I heard was unbelievable there, and it's $10.
How many people show up there?
Oh, it's massive, probably 30, 40, 50,000 a day, and this thing lasts for, 4 or 5 days. It's huge. Yeah,
So
it's
you guys
phenomenal.
have pretty good barbecue up there?
In North Dakota, yeah, we got companies here making barbecue grills and shipping them out all over the world now. We got some companies here that make them, and yeah, barbecue's huge in North Dakota. I think I turned them on here coming from Kansas City when I was a kid, my dad and me, and I'll tell you what, they didn't know what barbecue was, and well, we got some guys from Virginia come up here, and they started some barbecue shops years ago. But the food, they were real good, but the health department closed them down. Every time you get a good barbecue joint up here in North Dakota, they close them down. But we got Famous Dave's here. I don't know, that's probably a nationwide chain, but we had Famous Dave's at the Rib
Right.
Fest 10 years ago when they first started out. So they come, and
That's right.
yeah, we got some good barbecue now. I mean, this town went crazy for barbecue, and everybody and their brother is into barbecue. Now, I'd say KC's number one, though, yeah, for sure, KC barbecue. Texas is good, though, too, Jason. I mean, when I go to the Rib Fest, I eat the Kansas City barbecue, and I go to the Texas, and I went and they had some from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'll tell you what, the barbecue they were cooking, it was good. I mean, I ate theirs too, and they'd give you a run for your money too, Indianapolis, Indiana. I was like surprised how good their barbecue was, you know. And one year I went, the guy said, "You eat these ribs and don't put no sauce on them." And I'm going, all right. And they were good too, but I like the sauce on them. You know, you gotta do them in sauce. Well, Jimmy's coming on here in a minute. What's going on, Jimmy?
Are you guys really talking about barbecue? When the Taliban is out there cooking babies right now and women?
Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. They're cutting women's eyes out and beheading them right now because they're not. Watch the TV.
Papa Joe would not let that happen.
Yeah, that guy, he's got full control out there. He is dominating. The Taliban is petrified that Joe Biden is coming back with his army.
So what you're saying is that the Taliban are barbecuing women and children?
Abso-fucking-lutely. Excuse my language. Son-of-a-gun-lutely.
Well,
the whole world hates Biden right now.
The whole world has always hated Biden.
Yeah, I thought you were a Democrat.
Well, it just depends. I don't want to see women and kids. Yeah, I don't want to see women and kids get hurt.
Stay back. Are they really doing that to them?
Oh yeah, they're cutting the women's eyes out right now.
Oh, come on.
Oh no, the Taliban, they have reports of it. They have pictures of it. They cut a woman.
I've been hearing that too.
I haven't heard any of that, but you never know. You know, anything's possible.
Yeah.
We could look into it.
That's what they do.
Team Steele, we could look into it here. I can contact my staff and we'll check it out. But I know there's a military presence right now that's going to get all of our people out.
No, they're not. Did you not just see what they put on? They posted online that they told everybody that they do not have control of the airport. They will notify them by either message or by a social media app to let them know further details of where to go. They don't even have a plan to get the American people out.
Well, I watched the State Department briefing here about 3:00 today, and the State Department said they had it all under control. The airport's stable. They have stability in the region. We got troops there. We got planes coming in and out. We've got soldiers we brought back in there to make sure everybody gets out safely. We've got the airport under control. I watched the generals.
Michael J.
I watched the generals.
Michael J.
Jimmy.
Do you always believe everything that some bullshit that someone tells you?
Well,
or is it just because it's the government, then the government never lies? They don't lie, do they?
Well, Jimmy, who are you going to believe? I mean, this is the State Department. This is generals.
I'm going to believe all the photos that I see. That's what I'm going to believe. All the videos I see. I'm not going to believe what the State Department tells me because the State Department told me. The government never tells the truth, and it doesn't matter who's in office. It doesn't matter if it was Trump, Obama, or whatever. They never tell the truth. You know that. I know that. Why would the government ever come out and say, we have lost full control of this? We have no clue what we're going to do. Well, they can't do that, can they? Because they already look stupid.
Well, I tell you what's funny. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, Biden said no matter how we exited, it's going to be chaos. I mean, that's what happens when you leave.
First of all, that's a complete lie.
Well, that's what he said.
That's a lie.
That's what he said.
No.
Today.
That is not what he said.
Yeah, he did. He gave a speech today, and he said no matter
how you leave, before he got him out, what did he say? Before he got him out, what did he say? He said that is not going to happen. When the reporter asked him, he said that is not going to happen. And we are not worried about the Taliban taking over. And then the other jackoff said that, he couldn't, it's not going to be like a Friday to Monday and the Taliban is taking over. So you need to stop right there. You dig yourself in a hole by saying stuff like that.
No, I could just give you the information that's out there. That's all we can do. There's information that we're all watching and paying attention to, and you could give the information you're getting. I'll give you the information I'm getting, and that's how this works.
I know the information you're getting. Joe Biden came on TV and said, well, it was going to happen. That's the biggest crock of shit in the world. See, this is the problem.
I had a customer today that he is Army intelligence. He's a civilian. He's retired now, but he's a civilian, and we got on that subject, and he's knee deep in the whole Afghanistan thing as it is right now. And I asked him, I said, is it as bad as it looks? And he said, worse. It's worse than it looks. And I said, did the administration really screw it up that bad? And he said, they totally dropped the ball on the whole thing. He said, I've been dealing with it since Obama was in office and Trump was in office. And they both knew. He said, his words is what he told me. He said, Obama and Trump were drawing down U.S. troops, but at the same time, they were building up NATO. So the U.S. was still in the background as the main force, but NATO and the Afghan army was pushed out front. And it was working very well. The Afghan army, he said, was actually very well trained. And they were doing a lot of good to keep the country stabilized. But he said, we had to stay there. And he said, even Obama and Trump both knew that they were drawing down, but it doesn't mean you were leaving. And you weren't leaving a vacuum. And he said, that's the difference between what Biden did. He goes, nobody knew that he was doing this. And he said, I didn't know. And he said, I'm dealing with that stuff every day and have been for the past decade. And none of our NATO allies knew. He was saying that his phone's been blowing up, emails blowing up, because none of the NATO allies even knew the U.S. was going to do it. So they had to scramble to get their people out. So now, I believe the guy. I mean, he had all the credentials. So, yeah.
Do you believe that Biden even knew that he was going to do it?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I don't even understand why they did it.
I don't think Biden knew it was going to happen.
It's one thing.
I don't even think Biden knew anything was happening in Afghanistan.
Well, here's my position right now. This is genius what Biden did, because now we know where all our enemies are. We know where all the Taliban are. They give their stuff away. We pretend we pull out. We know right where they're at right now. They're setting ducks. They're setting targets right now. We know exactly where they're at. We're putting troops back in there now. Is everything I'm reading, and we're going to be in there past December 31st. Why are we putting troops back in there now? We know right where they're at now. Now we pretend we're leaving. We draw them all out. What do you think of that? Huh?
Michael J., do you actually believe this stuff, or do you just say it to be controversial?
No, I believe it. We got generals, we got NATO, we got ground force. We got some of the best intelligence in the world working on this stuff, We can't all be that freaking stupid. We can't all be that stupid. We are America. We got West Point graduates. We got people from Minneapolis. You got 4-star generals. You got all this intelligence here. You got the best intelligence. We got drones watching these guys. We know what every move these Taliban are making. Now we pull out. We know every move they're making. Now we got drones watching them. We know where they're at. We know every move they're making. This is the greatest thing in the world. Pull out. Pretend we're leaving. Now we can watch them.
Well, it's funny you say that, because the gentleman I talked to today, I was like, do they really have that much armament that we left them? And he said, sure they do. And he said they have the drones, the Black Hawks. We left them everything. And he said the Afghan army was trained on all that stuff. But he was talking about, he said the biggest thing is he goes, what you're going to really see different is the armament. He said, you watch newsreels and watch television. they're no longer going to be carrying around our AK-47s because we left all of our small arms over there. He said, so you're going to see them, and because we trained the Afghan army to switch over to all the NATO stuff. So they're all using 5.56, and they're all going to be walking around with M4s. You know, everything you're going to see is good. They're going to have the same thing that the American soldier has. And I'll be darned if I don't look at a picture today and there's a bunch of Taliban, and every single one of them has an M4.
Yep.
Well, where are they going to get the resupplies, though? Who's going to resupply them? We sure in hell ain't, or are we?
Well, 5.56 is ubiquitous. I mean, it's and besides, I don't think they're going to be, from the way he made it sound, we left millions upon if not tens of millions of rounds for them in caches over there.
Even with all this withdrawal we've been doing for the last 2, 3, 4 years, we left all that. Even with all the withdrawing we've been doing, even with the Trump administration, all the withdrawals.
There we go.
You got to remember, again, we were drawing, and that's the way this gentleman said it. He said nobody was withdrawing. He said that's the wrong term to use. He said even Obama and Trump were not withdrawing; they were drawing down. And I think this gentleman was right. There's a big difference between withdrawing and drawing down. Because drawing down, we were just rebuilding behind us with NATO forces and the Afghan army. But we were not drawing out. That's the difference.
Well, yeah, $2.23 trillion is a lot of investment over there. I was watching a show last night where the elites stay over there in Afghanistan. These people were, their dignitaries and all their diplomats. You should see how they were living. They were living better than Saddam Hussein at the top of his power. Royal golden sinks they had. These people were living high on the hog over there. These ambassadors and all their leaders over there.
Michael.
And that's all on our dime. All on our dime.
Michael J.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Let me be clear. Whatever happens, I don't want to see women and children killed. But the Afghan people and the residents of the Afghanistan are not my concern. You still have an unknown amount of American citizens stranded in Afghanistan with no preparation or no know-how of how they're going to get them out. But those people are trying to leave.
Benghazi.
And
remember Benghazi.
So you're sitting here saying that this is the greatest thing that Joe Biden has ever done. But the simple fact is American citizens are going to die, are in extreme harm's way. So what you're saying is that it's the greatest thing he ever did by killing an unknown amount of American citizens.
Well, you don't know.
Because that's the problem. See, that is my problem. It's not the problem, it's my problem. If they come on the news and said, look, the Taliban has taken over Afghanistan, we don't give a shit, we're done spending money over there, but all of our American citizens are out, the ones that wanted to be out, they're out. We're free and clear of it. I could care less.
Well, as of today, U.S. officials say they've evacuated 4,480 civilians, Americans, since they took control of the airport over the weekend. The turmoil there has seen Afghans rush the tarmac, which you've seen a few days ago. But right now, according to the State Department, they got this all under control. And they've been taking plane loads of people out with the C-17s and the C-130s. So they claim that they're getting, they've even taken out 100,000 Afghans they've taken out right now over the weekend that are our allies. And they're getting all of our people out of there. They figure by December 31st, they're going to get everybody out of there. So according to the State Department, everything is stabilized. We got troops back in there, and our troops are getting everybody out. But you're probably right. There's going to be collateral damage, I'm sure. They're not going to get everybody out of there. That's some risky stuff, but at least we're going to know where the enemy is. We have drones. There's drones in there. I never said it was stabilized. They're claiming the airport is stabilized. Sissy said nothing is stabilized. The airport is considered to be stabilized according to the generals today on the State Department briefing, and the head of the State Department was talking. So they're claiming that they're getting our Americans out, and they're going to get 100,000 Afghan allies out, and they're going to go to Qatar, and they're going to Great Britain. They're going to be bringing a bunch to America and a bunch all over the country. So they are beating women and children. Well, that's what the Taliban does. They beat women and children. But the Taliban right now want us out of there. The people are saying, get us out of here. The sooner that we leave, the sooner the Taliban's going to leave them alone now. That's a few headlines on the news today. They're telling us to hurry up and get the hell out of there so the Taliban will leave them alone, their citizens alone.
They didn't tell us to get out of there.
That's what they're saying now. Right now, headline right now, Afghans plead for faster U.S. evacuation from Taliban rule. They're pleading.
Michael from Missouri, will you school him one more time?
Well, they're telling us to get out of there. The people want us out of there, and they're hoping that the Taliban will leave them alone. They want us to get out of there. The sooner we get out of there, the sooner the Taliban will leave the people alone. And then they'll go back to their Taliban rule again.
You're delusional. Just like what you stated earlier that caused me to fall asleep talking about the duties of a senator. I learned that when I was in middle school, and I fell asleep listening to you. But I'm telling you, you're talking about the Taliban like they're equal to another government.
Well,
like the government of Mexico.
Your best buddy, your hero Trump said that he eradicated the Taliban 2 years ago. They're gone.
Okay, but Michael,
he wiped them off the face of the earth. He said they're gone.
Don't go back into the past.
Well, answer the question. Where are they coming from?
No.
Who's giving them money? How are they coming back? Where's this resurgence?
The Chinese and the one world government. That's who's backing them.
The Chinese,
Think
our
about
ally,
all the minerals.
Our number one trade partner. We own 64%. China falls, we fall.
Think about all the minerals. Think about all the minerals that are in that country now that belong to China. Because China has the biggest port in Afghanistan. Use some logic here, just common sense. Think about it, we just lost all these minerals that we could tap into, and all we were going to do is leave a force of 2,500 for intelligence to provide intel to the Afghan army. And you have a president that took them out, but left all the people that are citizens that are still there, left them there instead of getting them out first and saying, you got to go, not leaving them. You got to go. And don't give me anything on that. Start talking about that. Please don't talk about it, because being in the military, you never leave nobody behind, and you never leave your buddy.
Well, you're talking.
So don't give me.
Well, you're talking about a military minerals and all this we're leaving behind. We were there 20 years. What the hell do you think we were doing in there 20 years? If we didn't get to minerals and commodities and gold and shit, could you hit somebody's got their speaker on. If we were in there 20 years, Michael, and we left all these commodities you were just talking about, and Joe Biden left them all behind, you don't think we were in there for 20 years taking stuff? 20 years we were there. I'm sure we took a lot of gold and a lot of silver. Hey,
it doesn't. It doesn't
we were
take somebody
stuff.
that
we were over there because there was something we needed.
Look,
we wouldn't go over there if there wasn't something we needed in America. Come on, brother.
Listen, think about COVID. Let's go back. Okay, COVID didn't come on the world scene until 2000 January or maybe December of 2019. It started in Wuhan, China, right? They come over, it's all over the world, and they shut the country down. President Trump shut the country down. The election come, they changed election laws, right? All of a sudden, instead of people focusing on where the problem started, they started focusing on who was going to be president. And then after that, Biden gets elected in office. January, all of a sudden, our country is focusing on the vaccine, which was spearheaded by President Trump. So he was on the coattails of President Trump. Okay, the exit in Afghanistan that Trump wrote up or agreed to didn't say we were going to completely pull out. We were going to still provide intel. Right? He also told them that if they jacked with us in any way, killed any U.S. citizen or servicemen, that we would unleash on them like they've never seen before. Okay? So remember that. Now you have a president that just gave China all the minerals in Afghanistan because they have the biggest port, who caused COVID, who caused this pandemic in the world, and he's coming home to go after the American people who won't get vaccinated because they don't trust the vaccine for whatever reason, and they're not sure about it. And now we're hearing that they're going to do a third shot because it's a booster to help the first two. And you got an open border where people are coming in, and we don't know if they're coming from just Central America or South America. They could be coming from all over the world, and we don't know what they're carrying. They could have yellow fever. They could have tuberculosis. They could have other diseases that haven't been around, that were eradicated years ago, polio, whatever, and they're bringing it back in the country, and our president's telling us that we need to be vaccinated, and now he's putting mandates on vaccinating everybody while the rest of the world's falling apart, and he's sitting in the White House trying to figure out what he's going to do tomorrow, and how he's going to put pressure on the American people and come down and put the screws to the American people, mess the economy up, let inflation go up, quit making people go to work. Let's create a welfare state. And you know what that sounds like? Sounds like that World Economic Forum group talking about the one world government. He's right in line with them. And it sounds like you are too.
Hey, Sissy. Let's give Sissy a time to call in, Jimmy. We got a first-time caller. Sissy, you're on... What would you like to talk about, Sissy? First-time caller, Sissy. First-time caller, Sissy.
Yeah, I just been listening to all this talking, and the guy before you from Kansas City, I 100% agree with you. I watched Joe Biden today, and Michael J., I can appreciate, again, I appreciate what you're saying, but I watched Joe Biden today talk about a booster shot, when the bottom line is we got people trapped in a country, okay, and he did it. He did it. And he left our own weapons to use against us, the taxpayers who paid for that over there. We paid for them to kill people, to kill our people. I don't understand. You want to run for Senate. How are you not outraged about that? How do you sit at wherever you're at in Fargo and not see what the hell's going on? I'm pissed. I'm pissed as a citizen. I'm pissed as a taxpayer. There's a lot of people who are suffering because of this idiot in office. And that's all you can call him today. Because that man... And I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I did. I've tried. But it's too late. This is too much. He needs to be removed. The vice president needs to be removed. Nancy Pelosi needs to be removed. They all got to go. They gotta go. And I'll tell you, you can either change with the rest of society or you can keep going that way. But this is never, ever going to fly anymore. We have to stop it because this is our livelihood. This is your life. I don't know. Do you have kids?
Well, Sissy, you can't blame the president. We've been over there 20 years.
Listen,
you blame Trump every time.
Well,
hold on a second.
Obama was over there. Who brought us in there? Remember who brought us in there? America spent 2.23. Joe's getting us out of there. We spent our blood and treasure.
Someone hit you.
We spent too much money over there. We got to get out of there. They're bankrupted in our country. And now we know where they're all at. We know where they're at now.
Let me say this. Let me say something here.
Joe's only been in power 7 months.
Don't tell me Joe got inaugurated in 1973.
He's only been president. He's only been president 7 months.
I don't care. He makes decisions, okay? He's had choices to make too. And he hasn't done shit. And I'm going to tell you right now, the American people are done hearing about it. I don't care who you want to blame that he's only been president 7 months. This is on him. This is on him. He's the president right now. He's the person that made that call, and he shouldn't have. And now we have a problem. Now, there's no solution with you right now.
Well,
and that's what bothers me about listening to you, Michael J.
He talked to
Michael
Trump,
J,
and him and Trump, he followed the Trump timeline. Him and Trump talked, and he said, I'll follow the Trump timeline.
Even if he said...
And he did. I got an article I can read.
Listen, I don't care about an article. I don't care about an article.
Donald
what
Trump
I'm saying
talked to the media on May 1st this year about
You
the
can't
Trump
blame the
timeline.
president.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm tired of this. You cannot continue to blame somebody who's no longer there. And you want to talk
But you're
about
blaming
the timeline?
it all on Joe. We've been in there 20 years. We spent $2.23 trillion.
You know who I'm blaming?
$2.23 trillion.
I am going to blame him. I'm going to blame him.
You can't blame him. He's only been in there 7 months as president.
Don't tell me that he's my president.
He's only been there 7
leader
months.
Of my country.
Well, he ain't in charge of everything. He
Let me
listens.
tell you, he's a puppet. He's a puppet. He doesn't listen. He doesn't listen.
Hold on. Okay. Michael J. First, I want to say this. Michael from Missouri. I agreed with everything you said, other than Joe Biden has made decisions in the White House because he's never at the White House. He couldn't even make it to the White House when he lost Cabal. We'll start there. But here, I'll give you this, all right? This is I'm going to give you for the sake of being done with this and you constantly blaming Trump, Michael J. Joe Biden followed Trump's timeline. Trump did not leave U.S. citizens in Afghanistan. Joe Biden done that. Would you agree?
Joe Biden's getting them out right now. The airport, everything. I've already gone over this.
Hold on a second. Would you agree? Yes or no?
I wouldn't agree with you 100% on all that. You know, because we're
getting
people out of there,
don't agree.
And we brought troops back in there. We got troops back in there right now. We brought troops back in to get people out.
But that wasn't the question. That was not the question I asked you. I said, would you agree that Joe Biden has left American citizens stranded there right now?
No, because our troops are over there getting them out of there. We're getting them out right now. They're not stranded. We're getting them out. We're getting them out right now. American troops are there to get them out of there. So they're not stranded.
Just earlier, you said that there will be casualties.
4,480 troops are getting out of there. Are out of there already, and we're getting more out of there as we're speaking. That airport, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff and all the top generals from all the armed forces today said they've got the airport stabilized, and we're getting, they got the C-17, C-130s are bringing airplane loads of Americans out of there right now all day long. That's what they're doing. They're flying sorties continuously in and out. So, I mean, they got more intelligence than I got. Way more intelligence than I have. So,
Michael J.
So when you read stuff, is that automatically something you agree with? So when you used to read when you read intelligence stuff when Trump was in office, were you like, yeah, they're telling me the truth? Because those were educated men. They were from West Point, like you said, Minnesota, all these different places. They were educated men. Did you believe it then?
Well, you got to consider the source, and you got to take your information from 25, 30 sources, not.
There's your problem, Michael
source.
J.
No,
there's your problem. It's the same intelligence people that were under Trump.
Hey, Showcat's back.
Listen, they were the same intelligence group under the Trump administration is the same intelligence group under Biden. So what you just said is, with Biden they're all right, but with Trump they're not. But it's the same group.
You're putting words in my mouth. I'm answering the question. I'm answering Jimmy's question. You read.
No, you didn't answer his question.
You didn't answer. You have peer reviewed. You consider your sources is what you do. That's what I told you. Your intelligence is who your sources are, and you consider your sources. And you read.
Well, I'll tell you who my source was today.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who my source was today.
Who was your source?
My source was my president. And when my president got up and spoke today, he didn't have a damn thing to say. Nothing. That's what I got today. That's who was speaking to the American people today, Michael. And I don't know you, but I'm going to tell you, that was the biggest blunder in American history, and I'll tell you why. Because America, at this moment in time, needs leadership. Leadership. Every human and every person in this world is so hungry for it, they'll crawl through the desert to get it. You don't understand that today, Mark.
How do you know that? Have you been over there? How do you know what you're saying?
I don't need it. Listen. I don't need to be over there. I'm an American citizen.
You have intelligence on the ground? Are you talking to some
I don't need intelligence.
Do you have it?
Do you have a drone?
Do you have
drones?
Michael J.
We have drones.
Michael J.
Do
you have it?
I don't need a drone.
Do you have a drone?
Michael J.
Do you talk to our drone?
Do you have it? Michael J. Do you have intelligence on the ground, and do you have a drone? Because all you do is read shit, and so does Sissy, and so do I, and so does everybody else. So all you do is regurgitate shit. So when you make comments like that, all you do is just show more stupidity. Because you're reading a different article than she may be reading. Do you have intelligence?
No,
is someone calling you and telling you what's going on?
When someone's cutting
I didn't read an article today.
When one person's cutting someone else down about their intelligence, I guess
cutting you down.
If we're all getting the same intelligence, then we're all full of shit, then according to you. Then every one of us are full of shit.
Okay,
well,
then guess what? I'll agree to that.
Well, then I guess we're all full of shit.
Okay, then we're all full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right.
Then none of us know what the hell we're talking about, I guess.
That is correct. None of us actually know what's going on because no one's going to tell us the truth. But I'll tell you what, Michael from Missouri in China, he's correct on that. That I agree with.
Here's the thing. I'm just saying today people wanted to hear from a leader, and we didn't hear that today. We didn't hear that today. We haven't heard that in the 7 months since this man has taken office. And like I said, I stand behind that. I've always stood behind the President of the United States. I have respect for the office. But today was a complete, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. It shouldn't have happened, number one. But this man cannot take questions. and he wouldn't speak about it. And there's something wrong with that. There's something devious behind that. And we have to have a leader. If Michael J., if you want to make a difference in the Senate, then you have to lead. You have to lead, and you are listening to what other people are saying, and I appreciate that. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure about, this has been a bad day. Bad day.
Well, a bad day for everybody. But, I mean, what do you recommend? Everybody can bitch and yell and complain, but what are you recommending? What would you have done different?
What would I have done different? Right at this point, and you can't say that because we have Americans over there, but I'm going to tell you, I wouldn't have gone about it this way at all. I wouldn't have let anybody know, first off, that I was pulling out. That's my thing. But I'm, again, not in the military. I don't know all that business, so I can't really speak to that necessarily. But today, I would have spoke to my people. That's what I would have done different. I would have talked to the American people. And you know what? Instead of blaming other people yesterday, take some responsibility for what the hell's going on. We had a general today admit we don't have the resources to get our own people out of that country. And on top of it, we just sent our military in there. My fear is they're sitting ducks. The Taliban's going to go after them because they got our own equipment. They have our own stuff. I mean, come on.
Well,
it's not that difficult.
Okay, according to the Department of Defense, air operations at Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul, they claim we can get 9,000 a day we're getting out of Afghanistan right now. That's what they're claiming, according to the Defense Department. Okay, we're pulling out 9,000 people a day we are evacuating out of there, according to the Joint Chief of Staff over there. So don't get mad at me for saying it, but that's what they're saying. We're getting 9,000 people a day.
No, I'm not mad at you for saying it.
So I'm just telling you, there's stability right there, and we're getting people out of there, and it remains fluid over there. But I mean, it's not a picnic. We're pulling out of there. It's not a picnic, but should we stay there and continue to spend more money, trillions of dollars, when the people over there are just not going to defend their own country? And like I've said,
absolutely not.
Yeah, we've been over there.
But now we're in a predicament.
Yeah, there's a country.
What do we do?
This country's been steeped in religion for thousands of years. And we're going to go over there, and we're not going to change the religion. There's no way we can do it. And
I agree with that.
And they don't want us over there, and we should have never went in there in the first place. But we did, and we probably set them back maybe 100 years, whatever the hell we did. We gave them some modernization there. We tried to help them realize that women need education. They're women, they want education. We tried to help them, give them some equal rights. We tried to show them, but here we go. The Taliban comes in out of nowhere, who was supposedly eradicated. Michael from Missouri said the Chinese are backing them, which probably they are, because they're using Chinese military rifles and all that. Now they got our stuff, but at least right now I know we got drones. We got our intelligence watching them. We know where they're at now. We know when they leave where they're going to hide. We know where they're at. That's the one thing that our intelligence knows. How many Taliban are on the ground now? Because our drones know everything going on. Okay, we have.
Okay, and I hope you're right, and I pray about that.
But I mean, I hope I'm not giving away any intelligence secrets right now. Okay, I hope I'm not giving away anything for the safety of our people. But I have to calm you guys down that are listening, and I have to. Hopefully, I'm helping. Whatever I'm doing, and I know people are getting bad, and even the president said it's going to be chaos no matter when we leave. We could throw another 2-3 trillion and stay there another 20 years, and it'll still be chaos over there because they're steeped in religion over there. You got to remember, what they do over there. You got to remember, this is the country that fought the Christians over there.
Answer a question, Michael J. Since this all has happened.
I already did.
No.
I already did. I answered it in my way. I answered it my way.
But this is not about Afghanistan. This is about China doing military drills and naval drills.
Well, China is our number one trade partner. Well, they're our number one trade partner right now. We don't want to piss China off or kiss our ass goodbye. That's my opinion. They got the largest standing army. They have our technology. 1.6 billion people. They outnumber us 2,000 to 1. 330 million Americans. We'll run out of ammo.
You know what the difference is between them and us?
We'll run out of ammo before we take them.
You know what the difference? Oh, no.
Yeah,
no. You know why?
What?
We're free. We're a free country.
For now.
The people in the United States are free, and we got leadership right now in the White House that's trying to make us fear everything.
Well, freedom's not free, Michael.
And the American people aren't afraid.
Freedom's not free,
The American
Michael.
people aren't afraid, and we're free.
Michael, you're a soldier. The cost of freedom is never free.
Listen,
go to your Arlington cemetery. Go to your Arlington cemeteries. The cost of freedom was never free.
We get to decide where we want to work. We get to decide where we want to work. We get to decide if we're going to get up and go to work. You go to China, they don't decide that. Somebody else the government's already decided that for them. The government's already decided what they're going to do for a living.
Well, you know what the head of the CIA told me? If I can control...
He told you you're full of shit.
No, the head of the CIA said, if I can control your choices, I can control your decisions. Remember that, Mr. Full of Shit. If I can control your choices, I control your decisions. So what do you think of that, big boy, Mr. Full of Shit?
Well, you just validated what I just brought up. I mean, what you just said goes along with what I just said. It brought it up. I mean, you brought it up. Are you crazy? I mean, you just validated me, and you don't even realize it.
I didn't validate nothing, Mr. Full of Shit.
Read it one more time.
Say what the CIA guy tell you?
If I control your choices, I control your decisions, and if the government controls your choices, they control your decisions. So everybody listening, that's a little secret out there.
So what is the government doing right now?
What do you think they're doing? Just what the hell I just said. So mind your manners.
Okay. So hold on a second. So what you're saying is what the government's doing right now
Freedom's not free.
The American people is the same thing. Okay. So
Freedom's
right
not
now,
free.
So you're okay with that?
Freedom's not free.
Is that something you want to change?
I am becoming a senator to make things better, to inform and educate and take ideas from you and the rest of the people of Washington to change and make things better.
So, but you don't like that. You want to be free. You don't like that the government tries to make your choices.
Well, I think that people need to have ownership. I've been saying inclusion, equity, and justice. We need to reform our justice system. I'd like to see our farmers of America own the damn farm instead of going to work for 40 years and giving it to the people up at the top. I'd like to see ownership.
Well, I thought we were trade partners with China, according to you. So that's where they're giving it to.
They own 64% of our debt. 64% of our debt is owed to China. So we're interconnected. Where do you think we get all our products from? Walmart and all these big box stores from China. Do you look where everything's made now?
Not My Pillow.
China.
My Pillow's made here.
Well, that's just a real small percentage of America, but
Mike Lindell.
Well, that's a small portion, but he could be in a lot of trouble right now, Mike Lindell, with this new deal.
Well, let's not get on him because we know you guys don't get along.
I don't think Mr. Lindell's going to save the country right now. Maybe he's got a plan for Afghanistan. Let's see what he has to say about that. Save it. Well, he said that Trump was going to be the president on the 13th, or Friday the 13th. He said Trump takes power. He had it all predicted for the last year, and damn, he was wrong. He made a boo-boo there, but anyway.
He was wrong.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. So, I mean, yeah. But don't ever.
Okay.
Yeah. The right, Starbucks, he needs to switch
but
parties.
freedom's not free.
That's what I said. It's not free. No,
I know. So, he didn't even have the freedom of, I guess he lost out on that because he didn't realize that freedom wasn't free.
Right. Starbucks says the government has a ton of money to pay back China. All they have to do is print it. I mean, they keep doing it with stimulus checks. Well, the stimulus check,
Solid point.
Well, they had to do something. People were out of work. They didn't have no money. They didn't want the crime going up. See, that was the government paying people money that were unemployed, out of work money, so they don't start looting and rioting in the streets. So you have to pay people money because our country is so good at paying other countries money so they don't go to war with us or attack us. We just pay them reparations or we give them foreign aid so they don't attack us. And now we're giving money to our own people so the crime rate doesn't go up. You give people money so they don't, so the crime rates don't go up.
So why does the crime rate keep going up with all this money he's already given? Well, hold on a second, Michael J. I noticed that you didn't read Billy's messages, but I want to explain something to you. Billy gave you props. If you scroll back in your messaging, he gave you props.
I didn't even
for what
read
you're
Billy.
doing.
I didn't read Billy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Billy's.
Showcat's back on.
Let's see here, Billy. What he's
and Billy
saying,
is correct.
We will win because the Chinese soldier will have a gun in his face and a gun in his back.
No. He says, Michael J., I know I hard on you, but you only Democrat at the mic every night willing to take questions and stand in the fire. I will give you that. The rest of your party are on their knees willing to have the rest of the world
Well, I'm a different kind of ordained priest, too. People ask me, well, aren't you a priest? You swear you do this, that. I'm a different kind of ordained priest. I'm a different kind of Democrat. I'm going to be a different kind of senator, too. So, but, Asians are good. I love Chinese food. When Trump was saying stop buying Chinese food because they spread this pandemic here, and he did, and this is true. He said, do not go do any business with the Chinese. Don't eat at Chinese restaurants. And he started this Asian hate in America.
No, he did.
He did.
No,
Donald Trump did that. And I said, go eat. And I went out every day and ate at my local Chinese restaurant.
Michael J.
So remember that.
Michael J.
Remember that, Billy. And I have no problem with our Asian Americans.
You got to let Trump go.
I have no problem.
You got to let Trump go.
And when the Chinese were here building our railroads, and they were the experts at dynamite, and they come in here and they built our railroads, you know how the country got rid of them? They started rumors and said they were bringing all the opium into the country, and so they ran them out of America, and they sent them over to Great Britain, and then the British ran them out or arrested them because they said that they were bringing opium there, and they had the opium wars. And that's what they did because America didn't want to pay them. So they ran them out of here, the Chinese. But some stayed and opened up Chinese restaurants and that. So, but that's the most recession-proof business in the world is the Chinese restaurant. What were you going to say? Go ahead.
So Chuck Cordini's back on. We didn't even get to see him finish last night.
Yeah, Chuck makes a lot of sense. How do you feel about Columbus Day? That's another issue I'm pissed about, Sissy says. Columbus Day. I don't know what she's pissed about. North Dakota, they quit celebrating it here in Fargo. The Native American had a big movement, and they threatened to attack Fargo.
That's what I'm pissed about.
About what? Tell us what you're pissed about.
I'm pissed because it's Indigenous Peoples Day. Italians had a lot to do with the building of this country. And that was a day to celebrate. I don't care what you think about Columbus.
Well, he was working for the Spaniards. He was working for the Queen of Spain, and actually the Portuguese are the ones that actually were the ones that were here messing with the Native Americans, and the Italians got a bad rap because they were working for the Queen of Spain as the one that paid Christopher
Columbus. So if you're a senator, are you gonna fight to give me Columbus back? Are you going to fight to bring Columbus Day back?
Yeah,
I don't care about Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yeah, that's what they did in Fargo. They actually went to our city hall. The tribe said they were going to attack Fargo, so Fargo caved in, and we don't celebrate Christopher Columbus Day in Fargo anymore.
He asked you a question, Michael J. Answer the question, yes or no.
I mean, did it happen nationwide? Is that going on nationwide?
We're not asking nationwide. She asked you, would you bring it back? Well, not the rest of the nation, you. Just yes or no.
It's a part of history. It happened, Christopher Columbus. It's a part of history, but don't blame the Italians for what the Queen of Spain did and the Portuguese.
But they are blaming the Italians.
I know, and I think that's a crock of crap. I think that's a crock of crap. Don't bring the Italians.
But you say you wouldn't bring it back, the day off and everything. The holiday for Columbus.
It is a national federal holiday. It hasn't been taken away. I just know in Fargo and some other parts of the country, there's a movement where they're eliminating it, and some towns and some districts.
Well, how do you feel about the statues that are being taken down?
Well, they're taking
exactly.
They're
They're
taking
Go ahead.
Confederate Robert E. Lee's statue was taken down.
Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Columbus. We're talking about Columbus. And what about the statues that nobody in the cities paid for? It was done by a certain neighborhood, like in Philadelphia.
Right.
They tried to take their statue down, but they paid for it. So would that not be private? Because it was a group of people in a community that paid for it.
Well, and Columbus thought he was, he found he thought he was in India. He didn't even know he was in America either. He thought he was in India, the East Indies. But he found America, you know.
True.
But
I'm going to be real honest with you. I don't care about any of that. Okay? I don't care about any of that. I'm just pissed that they took Columbus Day away.
Right. Well, it's
for no reason. I don't
think it's totally taken away. I just know in like Fargo where I live, it's gone. And I know certain.
Okay, if you look at your calendar,
Sissy, is it gone where you're at? Is it gone? It is.
Yeah.
Where are you at? What part are you?
Yeah, they don't.
Where are you at again?
I think you can tell by my accent where I'm at.
Like New Jersey or something, New York.
That's right.
Yeah, they took it away there.
That's right, where it's a real freaking mess.
They took it there.
Yeah.
Took you away. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think
Michael,
they should be blaming the Italians for that.
Michael, we always get into crazy Trump discussions and stuff like that, but I do have some questions for you that I think would be good for your voters. How do you feel about defunding the police?
Oh, that's good. That's real good.
Well, I don't think I know a lot of our police departments have been militarized for the last, 2 decades, 3. Bill Clinton, actually, a Democrat, militarized the police. If you do your research, and I don't think our police need to be militarized, but I think that's something that we could hold back on. But as the criminals get more professional and they get more militant, maybe the police have to, but I don't think they should be militarized. But most of your law enforcement people do come from military training. Most of your U.S. Marshals, your FBI that's all military people usually go into law enforcement anyway. But I don't think your local police departments need to be militarized because some people weren't trained militarily to use all this stuff, and you don't really need a militarized zone against American people. We are all citizens. I think.
That wasn't the question.
That wasn't my question. So
it was about defund the police. Do you agree with it or not? Yes or no?
I'm saying defund militarizing the police. No, don't defund them 100%, but get rid of the militarized. The police have been militarized, people. If you don't realize that, we have a military. We have a militarized police department.
Michael J. Let me. Maybe I should just form it in a way of a scenario. Let's say in Fargo, you're senator, and Fargo is moving that they want to take $10 million from the police force and put it into community
nonprofit organizations that are going to go out on the streets and come to 911 calls that are domestic disputes, and they want to give that money and fund that department, and those people don't have guns, they carry flashlights, and they're going to go and try to talk the situation down without having a police presence. So in Fargo, they're going to move $10 million from your police force and move it into that sector. Do you think that that would be a good idea? Do you think that that is going to help?
That's a good question. Wow. Was that Jimmy? That's Jimmy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question. Wow. Yeah, you get in Fargo, we had a lot of domestic. Police I talked to in Fargo, they don't want to do any domestic. They say it's the worst. More officers get killed going to these domestic. We actually had an officer 2 summers ago get killed, shot in the head. And there was a guy.
But Michael J., I was just using domestic as one call.
Yeah, there was a police officer.
It's multiple things.
He had.
It's multiple things.
Yeah, but there was a police officer right up the street from where I lived. There was a shootout with 6 officers and him, and he actually killed an officer because the officer didn't have a helmet on. He wasn't wearing his helmet, but he shot and killed an officer that was actually an army medic here, and did 9 years over in Iraq and Afghanistan, a war hero, medic, saved a bunch of. Mosier was his name. You could look him up online, Officer Mosier, and this guy left a family and a wife behind, and it was a tragedy. He killed Officer Mosier, and the guy had mental health issues, and he had his wife and kids in the house, and I went by this home, and it was riddled with bullets by the police. What a shootout they had, and they killed Officer Mosier. And I think maybe in that situation, the police shouldn't have intervened and should have left that guy because he had warned them to leave, or there's going to be some bloodshed. You're not taking me or my kids or my wife. You're not taking them tonight, and get the hell out of here. And they wouldn't leave. They took his challenge, and one of their top officers and a war hero got killed that night. And you can look it up, Officer Mosier, Fargo, North Dakota, a great guy. Everybody liked him, a good person, and he was an Army medic and saved.
You're not answering the question, Michael J.
And that particular.
You're not answering the guy's question.
No.
Jimmy asked you just a simple question, and he gave you a scenario,
just shut up?
and you spent 30 minutes talking about nothing.
But Michael J.
Shut up.
But
in that
Michael J.
particular situation, I think the police should have left, and those ladies should have came. And let that guy cool down, and we'd have saved an officer's life. We'd have saved an officer's life, and let them ladies come by the next day, and let them healthcare professionals talk to him the next day or call him. So in that situation, the ladies should have called him that you were talking about. The police screwed up and got their own officer killed. So that was a situation where I think it should have been not the police officers. It should have went with those.
So what about the $10 million that they would take away from the police and give to this nonprofit?
It should have went to the nonprofit. In that particular scenario, I think the police should have left and let the ladies call the next day, let the guy cool down. And the guy said they didn't believe it, and the guy killed an officer. Oh, and wounded another one, shot him in the leg, hurt another officer, but killed Officer Mosier. You could look it up. It's on the internet. He's one of our local heroes. No, he died a hero, but that doesn't bring him back. And now he's left his wife and kids without a daddy. So I think they screwed that
Michael
up.
J.
And there's been many mistakes in this town by the police. Many mistakes.
Yeah. So Michael J. I could be mistaken on this. And I'm not for sure, but I have a few friends of mine that are fire department, okay?
Right.
And there are certain situations where the fire department actually gets to a scene, and I don't know what scene this would be.
They're always the first ones there.
Too.
Yeah, they're always the first.
So they're the first ones there, and they actually can't enter into certain scenarios or certain scenes without a police presence.
Well, they do in Fargo. They're the first ones in the door here. I mean, if there's a life to be saved or something, but in a hostage situation like this, they're not going to mess with this, though. No, they.
And here in Tucson, here in Tucson, if the police arrive, if the fire department arrives first to a certain calls, it's multiple, and the police aren't there, they actually have to wait for police to be on scene.
Yeah.
And with shortage in a police department,
right,
and making calls like that, what happens then?
You have that even with
so there's a lot of scenarios that no one.
Our ambulance drivers also, when they're entering certain places of business, they have to wait for the police to come in, even if someone's having a heart attack. I know that.
Yeah.
They have to wait for a policeman, even if someone's going to die, because I've seen a guy dying, a friend of mine, a war hero, having a damn heart attack in McDonald's. I went outside and yelled 3 times for 35 minutes. It took them to get in there to help a guy. They said, we can't come in that building because there was a shootout there at that McDonald's last week, and the police told us we got to wait for a police escort to come in that McDonald's because of the shooting. A guy got killed. A 17-year-old kid got killed by a 40-year-old because he was having an affair with his wife the week before, and they were told they can't go in that McDonald's till there's a police escort. So my friend had a heart attack, almost died, a hero, Korean War vet. And I was out there in the parking lot screaming at the top of my lungs to get in there. My friend's dying. He's having a heart attack. And the son of a bitch is just sat in their ambulance eating their hamburgers. And they even had the nerve to go through the damn drive-through. This is no bullshit. To get their hamburgers on a call because they knew that they'd beat the police there. And they waited. And I could have strangled them, you know. So, I mean, you talk about some bullshit.
So you would defund the police then?
Not 100% on certain situations. I would, because they're not trained mental health professionals, and they need to go back to school.
But you don't get to. But it's not. But Michael J, it's not set up like that. It's either they either give the $10 million to them, the nonprofits, or the $10 million get to stay with the police department. Right? So it's not like they can say, okay, well, on such and such calls, we'll pay you for. It doesn't work like that.
Well, a lot of the funding goes by reporting, you know. Certain police departments, if crime goes up, they can get more federal grants. A lot of that has to come in. They have to show a need to get more money and more funding. A lot of these police are reporting to the National Crime Registries. There's people looking at the ICNC reports. There's people looking at these registries and reports. If their crime is going down in a community, the government's going to defund them anyway. And like, say, Fargo or whatever. Crimes go down, they start losing funding. So they want crime to go up.
But Michael J, crime's not going down.
Well, no,
crime
it's
doing
not.
Nothing but going up.
But it has gone down. There is trends where crime in certain communities goes down. And that's true. But they have reports. Fargo actually reports to federal agencies. They look at the statistics, and these numbers are analyzed, and that's how they decide how much federal and state funding they get. And now if crime goes up, they get more funding, you know. So, I mean, and that's just like your federal highway funding. You know, you could take highway funding or you don't have to take it, you know, but there's variables in that too, why you get federal funding. And if you don't get it, if your state does this and plays ball with Uncle Sam, you can get more federal highway funding, but you gotta take this or do this for the government, you know. That's how it is. You play ball with the government, they'll give you a little present, you know. That's how it works.
Yeah. So, and so my next question is do you believe that the government has the right to mandate a vaccine, to force everyone to get a vaccine?
They can, legally they can do it because that's like what I said, the necessary and proper clause. The government right now has the power, Congress has the power to do whatever they deem necessary and proper for the continuation of the United States government. Don't take my word for it.
But do you believe that that's right?
Well, it doesn't matter what I believe. It's what our Constitution says. It's just read the necessary and proper clause. The U.S. government can do whatever they deem necessary and proper for the continuation of the government. If they think the government's going to falter or fail because of this pandemic, they can mandate it where we all have to get it, you know. And that it's not up to me. It's not up to me.
So, well, it would be if you were in office. But so in that scenario, let's say that the Asian American community the government feels like the Asian community is carrying a disease, do you believe that it's right for them to stick them into camps because it's the good of the American people?
Well, we did that to the Japanese in the internment camps. We took, during World War II, we put Japanese citizens that have lived here for generations, stole all their money, everything they owned. That actually,
did you believe that was right?
No, because we had to pay war reparations to the tune of $40 billion to their families, and it wasn't right. Okay. And our country had to pay war reparations to them. These were U.S. citizens that actually had served in the war.
But why'd they do that to them?
Well, that's because of racism and scared. People were scared, and there's cultural construction. It's called cultural construction. Things that aren't constitutionally correct, that's called a cultural construction. And that's what, there's prejudice. That's a cultural construction. When you start a cultural construction, you're creating a prejudice against anybody. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
It's prejudice.
So now let's take this scenario to the people who don't want to be vaccinated decide they're not going to be vaccinated. Well, the other choice that the government has to do is to round all those people up and put them somewhere and take everything that they have. There's no need for bank accounts, is there? Because there's nothing to buy. There's no need to have living because you're not going to be living in your home. So if they do that, okay, all right, even if it's a jail cell, if they do that, how are you going to feel about that?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, because I heard somebody cut in and went, Could you repeat that? I didn't catch that.
So when if the government was to come and say, everybody has to be vaccinated, it's no longer a choice. It's government mandated. Everybody's going to be vaccinated. You're going to have a large population of America who says, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get vaccinated. Okay? The only other choice that the government's going to have, which they've already started the fear-mongering of the unvaccinated are, I shouldn't have said this because you're going to go down this road, and I know you are, that the unvaccinated are the ones who are causing this new Delta variant. But now the government says, okay, if you're not going to get vaccinated, then you're coming with us because you are a risk to the American people. And let's say that the government wants to put them in camps and puts them all together, or government wants to put them all in jails. Okay? Same thing as putting them in a camp.
Concentration camp.
Concentration camps. They have taken everything from them because they don't have bank accounts anymore because they don't need them. They don't have housing because they don't need them. So what's the next thing the government does? Puts them in camps and gives them the shot and forces the shot down them? Right? So you didn't think that it was right for what they did to the Asians, or I can't even.
Japanese.
The Japanese, thank you. Right? But you're fine with it being if the government says you're not vaccinated, right? Well, that's all races. It's just not like the only white people are saying I don't want to be vaccinated. The lowest vaccination is in the African American community. Okay? So what could the government do? And whatever the government does decide to do, are you going to support that?
Well, that's a hypothetical. That's neither here nor there. And if it does come down to that,
Michael, everything we speak about every week is hypothetical.
Well, it's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. But if it comes down to the nitty gritty, people probably, like you said, will be getting thrown in jail. And the military, the government will probably get the military and they'll start rounding people up. If it comes down to that, I pray to God it doesn't happen. I don't want to see it happen. But I mean, what power do we have as a citizen there to not just to stop it? How could we stop it?
Michael J. The hypothetical question is, you're in office. You win. You are now in Washington as a senator. That's the hypothetical.
Well,
do you support
I would
that?
say
Would
people,
you be like,
no, we'll
okay,
do like we're doing now. People could stay home till they get the shot, or stay home till they get better and get their antibiotic. Do what the hell we're doing now. You stay home, get sick and get your antibiotics, and then when you get better, you come to work. And if you die in the process, then you die like everybody else is doing. Some people didn't get the shot, they're dead. Like they died over in Italy and China and everywhere else in the United States. 698,000 people are dead right now that didn't know they were going to die. And I would say, no, we don't have to round them up. We could let them stay at home like we're doing now until they get better. Don't round them up. But the government could do that. If people are just going to go out. But there's people that go out to the bars right now that are sick, to go out to purposely get people sick. There was a group of students and college kids in Fargo they caught and they got in trouble that were going around trying to give everybody COVID. I don't know if that happened in your community. These little punks should have got the crap knocked out of them for doing it, but they were going around places trying to get people sick. They were rubbing spit on windows. They were touching everything, They were trying to get old people sick, stuff like that. If people are intentionally trying to harm elderly or handicap or other people, then they deserve to go to prison or jail for trying to wipe out humanity, and think it's funny. Some people think this is a joke, and so that's I understand what you're saying, but I would say let them stay at home and be sick with their families, or stay at home like we're doing now, self-quarantine. You get sick, you get your antibiotics, but if it come down to nitty gritty, maybe that the government will try this. But I would say let them stay home and let them do like they did in Italy. But a lot of people died in Italy, But it's, that's
Hey,
weird,
Michael.
but, yeah.
But who, when you say they, who are you talking about? The unvaccinated stay home until you get sick and get the antibodies? Or once you're sick?
Like we're doing now.
Is that what you?
People stay home.
Well,
your other buddy.
I go to work. So you're saying I should stay home until I finally get it?
I'm saying those people that are not getting vaccinated, you could stay home if it comes down to the nitty-gritty. Rather than go to prison and get arrested for not getting the shot, just stay home, rather than get sent into a camp and, like your friend said, have everything taken away from you. Do like we're doing now, I missed a caller. Where'd they go? Well, somebody, Wind called in, but hey, Wind, if you're still listening, you could call back in. We did miss Wind. I wanted to hear what Wind had to say. Wind did.
Hey, you do know that, have you heard of, antibody, dependent enhancement?
Yeah, I did hear something about that a while back.
And that, if we looked at England and Israel, they're a lot further along with their vaccination programs, up in the 90% of their, I forget the exact percentage, but above 90 vaccination of their people. And now COVID's out of control again out there. And that's a sign of antibody-dependent enhancement, which means the vaccines have backfired. And the virus is actually using the vaccine to create the new variants. So the virologist, especially Dr. Malone, who helped invent the mRNA technology, is advocating stopping all vaccines and using the old arthritis drugs that have been proven, and even the CDC quietly admitted that they do work early into the early stages of COVID. Not wait until you're at the hospital getting ready to put on a ventilator. But if that's true, would you support it? Would you support stopping the vaccines, which is, of course, would hurt the big pharma's pocketbook? But would you be, all for stopping that, even though a lot of politicians are probably making money off it too?
Well, if what you're saying works, I've heard of that. If it works and if everybody can afford it, And if their insurance okayed it, sure, we could try it. But how many people are going to die in the process waiting to get those therapies and that? I heard of those therapies.
Well, it's the therapies are. Trump brought in, I forget how many millions of hydroxychloroquine, but because it became such a political hot button issue, all of a sudden the FDA first approved it and then they retracted it once to use it. So we got to stop it.
Yeah, that's just it. How do you know what works and what doesn't work?
They have all this.
Now they're saying
all they have to do is actually listen to the science.
Well, now they're saying after 8 months, your Pfizer drops down to 63%. Now we all got to get a third booster. I had the 2 Pfizer shots, but now it's after 8 months of the shot. Now we got to get the third shot that's supposed to be coming out in mid-September. So we got to get this third Pfizer shot now. What do you guys think of getting that third shot? I'm going to have to go get a third shot now because the thing that started out as 94% is only going to be 63% now.
I don't have to go get a third shot.
Because you never got any shot, right? Or did you get the
I'm
Johnson
not for
Johnson?
or against. I'm not for or against any shot.
Did you get a shot,
Jimmy?
Jimmy?
Do what they want.
Did you get a shot, Jimmy?
I think that people should go and do what they want. I don't think it's anybody's business if anyone got a shot. And if you want to get one, you should get one. If you don't, you shouldn't.
But then aren't you putting your children or your neighbors or other workers at risk if you do get sick, Don't you think?
I put my children and my neighbors at risk every time I get in the car and back out of the driveway.
Okay. That's a good point, I guess, but I guess you're insured though. Can you get COVID insurance? Is there such a thing as COVID insurance?
Well, if we go down that slippery slope, then if somebody gets the flu from somebody else, then you're going to be able to sue for the flu.
Well, Cordini, you're breaking up again. I don't know what happened. You did that last time. You were breaking up too, but I'm just saying, in a car you have insurance. If you get in a wreck, you're usually they or somebody has some kind of insurance. You got airbags now. You usually have some kind of protection,
Yeah, but
with
once
COVID,
again,
you don't have airbags with COVID.
Yeah, but you have a life insurance policy. You have everything. It's a risk that you take every day. Okay, we live one life. Okay, and I believe this. I believe in God, and when I say I believe in God, I believe God has a plan for me. So my death is already assigned to me by God. So either a car wreck kills me, and that's what God says kills me. COVID kills me, and that's what God says kills me. A heart attack kills me, and that's what God says kills me. Okay? I believe in God. And believing in God and believing in my faith, that's all that matters. Because I don't know what's going to take me out. But eventually I'm going to die, just like everybody in this world. None of us don't die. God's already planned my death. He knows when I'm going to die. I don't. He knows what I'm going to die of. I don't. So a vaccine's not going to stop my death.
So do you believe that, do you go to the doctor at all, Jimmy, if you get sick, or do you have children? Do you take them to the doctor if they get sick, or?
Well, of course I go to the doctor, and my doctor agrees with me 100%.
No, I mean, do you have children? If they get sick, do you take your children to the
Michael, hospital? I don't understand where you're going with it.
Well, I'm just curious. Do you have children? If they get sick, do you take them?
No, Michael, I take them out to my backyard, and I tell them you're fine. Well, of course, they go to the doctor.
Okay, well, some Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that. That's what I'm wondering. They put 100% of their faith in God. They don't believe in taking their children to the doctor. They don't fight wars. They don't pick political sides. They don't vote. I have some friends. I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I was someone Jenny from Missouri thought I was, but I'm a LDS, and I just was wondering if you were a Jehovah's Witness. That's all. That's the reason I'm asking.
No, I'm not Jehovah's Witness.
Okay, I was just curious.
Hey, quick question. Just totally kind of off the virus subject. I'm just curious, curious, not poking fun or anything, just curious. What is a Mormon priest like compared to a Catholic priest? What do you guys do? I'm just honestly curious. It's an honest, curious question.
Well, when I was a kid and I was a Catholic, a Roman Catholic, the priests all drank and they smoked. Being a Mormon, the Mormon priest, which I'm an ordained priest, we don't drink or smoke, and we don't drink coffee, but we're allowed to drink soda pop, and I don't even drink pop. I drink
religious activities. What?
Oh, we have church just like you do. We have a chapel. We have a church. What else would you like to know?
I mean, do you do the whole?
We have sacrament, like you
guys.
If
you were Catholic, then you know how this does Mass.
Right. We have the sacrament on Sunday. We do the sacrament like you have. You guys eat the wafer under your tongue. We do that with bread, and we do the water representing the blood of Christ, and we do the bread representing the flesh. We have a little bit. We have respect for the Catholics. Actually, there's a Mormon book written about the Catholics, and there's a book written by a Mormon prophet that how he likes the Catholics, and there's some Catholics that wrote about the Mormons, how they get along, I guess, and how some of our religious beliefs are similar. There's some similarities, and there's some differences too. So don't get me wrong, there are some differences. We don't practice polygamy. That ended in 1869, and a lot of the offshoot churches, the people that were kicked out of our church, they started the polygamy and all that, like Warren Jeffs and all that, and he called himself prophet. He was kicked out of our church, and some of these former Mormons go out and they start these other polygamy sects and all that, where they molest these little girls, like Warren Jeff molested hundreds of children. He has nothing to do with the real LDS Mormon church, So I just want to set the record straight on that. We outlawed polygamy, and that was because there was some warring going on, and we wanted to do that for land rights. It's a man died. We wanted his wife to keep the land, but she married the brother, and there's some things going on there. It wasn't immoral. It was just about keeping the families together and keeping the land rights and everything. So there were Mormons there were Mormon regiments all the way back to the Revolutionary War. So there was a lot of patriotism with the Mormons even to this day. So, yeah, anything else you'd like to know?
No, I was just curious what how many priests are there at your church?
Oh, well, everybody can become a priest. You become Aaronic priest is the first priest. You become, and then you become a Melchizedek priest, which is a high priest, which I am. And then you become an elder, and then you can become a bishop, and you can become an apostle, and then you could become the prophet. And there's wards all over: first ward, second ward. In Fargo, we have 3 wards here, just in Fargo, but you get like 94 different priests in one ward, and then it grows. I mean, there's actually books written of how it's organized. It's an organized religion, how it's structured and how it grows. And like the first presidency, the head prophet Nelson, he's 96. He's a cardiologist, actually a heart surgeon, and he's from the first prophecy. And he's but you have multiple prophets. It's a big church. There's about 18 million members right now. All the way in Italy, they just built a couple of years ago. They just finished the biggest Mormon temple in the world in Italy, believe it or not. And they had to get permission from Italy and everything to build it. So, there's a lot of people that are actually converting into the Mormon faith over in Italy. But we like to call it Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints now. We're trying to get rid of the name Mormon and just stay with LDS now. So if that answers your question. Yeah, so it's a good faith. It's a real strict faith. That's why I joined, and I become a priest because my dad was going to be a Catholic priest, and he couldn't do the vow of celibacy years ago. And God said, well, I should be the one to bring back the priesthood to our family, because the oldest boy in an Italian family is supposed to be the priest, you know. And so I become a priest again. But my mother was the American side of the family, as my dad would say, and my dad was the Italian side. So, and her family, I'm related to 13 presidents, Elvis Presley, George Washington, and a bunch of presidents, and I'm related to the prophet Joseph Smith. My family tree is phenomenal. That's one thing.
Did they change your name coming over?
It's a long story. Yeah, it's just a long story with what's going on in my life. It'd blow your mind. But anyway, I'm Michael Steele right now for 43 years. Let's just leave it at that. But anyway, we have the largest repository of family history records. And you can go to any of your Mormon temples or churches and call them, and we like to help people with family history. And I get things every month with pictures from the cemeteries all over the world, you know, of a relation that I'm related to. And once you do it, after about 4 years, you get this algorithm going, and then it'll take you all the way back to like Moses. I've gotten it all the way back to Moses being on Noah's Ark, Moses relatives, and it's just incredible how far back you go. But you got to study it for 4 years, get the data going, and then these computers are hooked up nationwide, and that algorithm starts working, and then the church will just start sending you stuff, and it just blow your mind.
You done it through the church?
Yeah, we own a bunch of websites, like Family Search is a free one online. You can start there, and a lot of your genealogy sites, we own those, and we've been doing this longer than anybody, the Mormon Church.
No kidding.
Yeah, and there's Ancestry.com we're affiliated with, but Family Search is free, and that's a good one to start with. I'm actually a family history consultant. That's my calling with the church now for, I think, 5 years. That's what I do. Everybody in the church gets a calling, and that's what I am, a family history consultant for the church. So I've been doing that, helping people start their family trees and all that. So it's a lot of fun. And it was cool to find out I'm related to George Washington on my mother's side, and Elvis Presley's my second cousin, and I thought that was cool, you know. And I'm a karaoke singer. I've been doing karaoke for 25 years, and I'm actually a pretty decent singer, you know. So, and my friend said, tell everybody.
You have to sing for us tomorrow night.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to do when there's music or a band, but they call me the singing senator. I should start that. I got videos online. You can see me singing. So, yeah, I don't want to sing tonight. I've been talking for, 2 hours. We're going to end the show here pretty quick, you guys. We got 3 minutes to go. So, but man, it's been a good show. Everybody got along, and I had some fun. And yeah, I hope we can continue getting along. And yeah, we got a mess we got to clean up. I agree. And hopefully things work out, but we know where the Taliban are. Remember, guys, we got these drones. We know where they're at. We're watching them like a hawk. We got the eagle eye in the sky, the eye in the sky, you guys, and we got Echelon. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Echelon. Any of you people out there, you might want to do a Google search on Echelon. So that's a little bit of classified stuff you can look into for all you conspiracy theorists and everything. That's something pretty impressive. If you get some YouTube videos going on Echelon, you'd be amazed at the intelligence that we have. And so we know what's going on. So we've got to have faith, like Jimmy said, you know. Have faith. That's what I do every day.
Hey,
I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I wonder why I'm even here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
That's for sure. Have you seen, I'm just asking just because have you seen a huge uptake in the show with all the controversy? Or did you have a lot of controversy before?
Well, yeah, it's going good. We got 294 listeners tonight. I think we're breaking records. And I know when I call my moderator tonight there, They're probably going to tell me. I'm guessing we hit 370, 360 at one time tonight. Yeah, we're jamming. Oh, this is. I only wanted to hit 250, and right now we're at 294 on my end. That's just looking at my Android, but this ain't talking iPhones and. Ooh, now here my moderator just said we're at 303 on her phone, and she's on an iPhone. So we got 303 iPhone viewers, 294 Androids, and we got 10 live in the studio up and above that. So we're over 300 right now. So that's phenomenal. Yeah. So I mean that's killer. All I wanted to hit was 250. We hit critical mass on a talk show. That's all you got to do, and that's we're killing it, guys.
Maybe we need to syndicate this thing.
Well, we kind of are. We're live on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Live, Pandora. We're live. We're on live on about 15 different platforms right now. We're live. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. We're broadcasting live on 15 platforms right now. Have picked this up, so we're somewhat syndicated. We're just not on any big radio networks out of LA or not that I know of, but it could go, which would be pretty awesome. Then we got to get paid. Somebody's got to get paid. Then my campaign better get some bigger donations because I need some dang donations coming in, So, and if you need to donate, www.michaeljsteele4senate.com. I do need some donations. Because evidently people are liking the program and it's growing every night. We got over 300 right now. So, Pastor Israel, our show's going to go off at any second right now. This thing times me out at about 2 hours and about 2 minutes. It times me out. But Pastor Israel, if you want to come on tomorrow night, we'll be here from 8 to 10. Sometimes I do another show, but last few shows I did, everybody was listening. Nobody was calling in. Everybody, I think, has to work in the morning, go to sleep. They're a little better on the weekends. They get a little fun. The 10:30 to 12:30 shows are good on Fridays and Saturdays and even Sundays. So maybe we'll try that this weekend. I'll do like Friday and Saturday. I'll probably do a 10:30 to 12:30, do a 4-hour program. But, hey, it's been great. I'm glad you guys are listening in. This has been the Michael J. Steele for Senate show. And remember to vote early, vote often, and thanks for listening.